Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, Arlino. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you. How are you guys doing today?
I'm all right.
Yeah,
very good.
we are. I know you all guys are excited for the weekend. Not for the class, for the weekend. But it's good. It's going to be a good weekend. I'm also excited for the weekend. All right. Any questions? Oh, you're going to take the class on the opening, Joseph?
I'm walking in right now.
Yeah, you just don't want to be late, right?
Can't be late.
Can't be late. Yeah, that's right. I open the meeting every day at 6:15.
Yeah, I'm walking in the building now.
I stay here. I'm waiting for at least the majority comes in. All right. So, questions. Does anybody have any questions before we started?
No, I don't.
That's good or bad.
I don't remember the questions also.
Yeah, it's either you understand everything or nothing.
Yeah.
It can mean two things.
Maybe the second option.
But you know everything. I'm going to stick with the first option.
Wait for that.
How you doing, Alexandra?
I'm fine, thank you. Sorry I was late today.
Yes, you're late, huh? Next time when you come in, you will be missing the beginning of the class.
No, I'll be on time. Don't worry.
I got my second extra point.
Yes, Guilherme today got his second extra point. He was the first one to log in, but he was also late. He logged in was 6:31.
Great. Me and Joseph, we are always late.
I don't what? I don't good? What's written in your mug?
In my I don't need a Google. My boyfriend knows everything.
Oh, okay. Okay. In general, we give this to wives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't need Google for anything. Just ask my ex-wife.
Yeah, or we can ask Alexa.
Yeah, don't say that name too loud because she's gonna respond.
Oh yeah. Yesterday.
Yeah. All right, guys. Nobody has any questions, so we started. This is the last slide that we saw yesterday. So we were looking at all the tendencies, right? Severalty, entities, joint tendency, and tendency in common. So just to make sure that everybody got it, I'm going to ask a question. I want everyone to answer, okay? So be ready, Vyacheslav. You're going to exercise your voice today because you're always so quiet.
Yeah. I think he's the only one really pay attention.
Yes. He doesn't have a time to talk because he's going to lose all the information.
Yeah.
Now, if I buy a house with my sister, and I'm going to leave in the will that my heirs are going to get in case I die, what kind of a tenancy will I have with my sister?
In common.
In common.
Tenancy in common, right?
In common, yeah.
Guilherme, what did you say? Rafael, did you say anything, Rafael?
I said tenancy in common.
Vyacheslav, I want to hear you.
Tenancy in common.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what.
Switching over to my computer.
Huh?
I'm switching over to my computer.
Good. All right, go ahead.
Ask another.
Ask whom?
Another question.
Another
Tricky question. Tricky question.
Right. I bought a house with my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and how we hold title.
Entities,
Entitled.
by entities.
I divorced my wife 2 years ago, and I bought a house by myself a month ago. How do I hold title?
Sole ownership.
What is the name of it?
State of severity. State and
State of
severity.
severity.
Okay, severity.
Very good. Now, question. I'm not gonna use myself. Number one, I'm not married and I'm not gonna die. I don't have any plans to die anytime soon. Let's say John and Sandra are married. What happens if Sandra dies?
John is going to have interest equal each. No, hold
Actually,
on. Right of survivorship.
yeah, but how is he gonna hold title after her death?
How he is gonna state of severity.
Yes, the house is gonna go to him
Yeah.
because the entitled has the right of survivorship, so he's gonna get the house. Let's say John and Sandra got a divorce. What happened now to the property? How are they gonna hold title?
That's the one that you didn't show yet.
I did.
Separate, no?
No.
Tenants in common.
Tenants in common. Yes. Okay, tenants in common, because you can only hold title in one of those 4 stages. Okay, either severalty, tenants in common, joint tenancy, or entitledness. Now, entitledness we know is owned by the marriage. If they get divorced, there's no more marriage. If the court doesn't decide that the wife is going to get the house, then it's going to be tenants in common.
Yeah, it's just to remember that if they divorce, they now are friends, not married husband and wife anymore.
Oh, friends, right?
If they are friends, it's in common.
Acquaintance.
Tenants in common.
Acquaintances is better.
Now, how do we call a property that we acquire before the marriage?
Before solo ownership? No,
the property that we acquire before the marriage, how we call this property? It's not how we hold title, because there's only 4 ways to hold title. I'm talking about the name. What is the name of this property that was acquired before marriage?
Separate property.
Separate property. Very good. Rafael, if I had a candy, I would throw it to you. Separate property.
Give me good notes and I have everything.
Candies,
right?
candies.
Oh, Ken, throw it to him because he deserves it. Now, what if I am married and then like 2 months after I got married, my father-in-law gives to my wife a property, but we're already married. How we call this property?
This property?
Huh?
Would it be
Homestead.
tenants in common?
A nice gift.
Yeah.
How do we call this property?
Homestead? No.
No, it's also a separate property. Any property that was acquired by gift, it's also considered a separate property.
Oh, that's new.
Yeah, that's new. Okay? Any property acquired by gift is also a separate property. If it's a separate property, the spouse doesn't need the consent of the other spouse to sell or to transfer the title.
Thanks God.
Okay. Now, good. Now we're going to talk about something called or created to avoid unfair will. Okay? What is an unfair will? I'll tell you what an unfair will is. John is married with Sandra, and they have a homestead property that belongs to the couple. They hold the title in severalty, but during the marriage, they also bought second homes, investment properties, and they have about 10 properties besides the homestead. But there's something going on John's life that Sandra was not aware. John was having an affair with his secretary. And apparently the secretary was making him happier than his wife, because when he passed away, he left on the will that all the properties are going to stay to the secretary, going to go to the secretary.
Oi.
Okay? Now, we understand that the homestead property is the one that's by entities. So we know that Sanjay is going to get it, 100% of the property. But the other 10 properties, he left to his secretary at will. So that's the reason why they create this elective share, is to protect the surviving spouse from an unfair will. So the surviving spouse is entitled to 30%, but it's not automatically, meaning the spouse is going to find out at the day that they read the will that he had an affair. She's already upset with this news. And now she's going to have to go to court and claim 30% of the other 10 properties. Okay? So what is it called? Elective share. The spouse is entitled to 30%, but it's not automatically, meaning she's going to have to claim that 30%.
So all survivor, husband or wife, at least by law, they have 30%.
Now, the one that they hold as marriage, the spouse gets 100%. So they're going to get the house.
I know.
Talk about the other 10. The other 10 that he left for his lover.
Okay.
He is entitled to 30%, but she needs to claim. Gabriela, where is your camera? Claudia, where is your camera? Oh, good to see you, Claudia.
Hi, Claudia.
Good. Hi, everyone.
She's beautiful.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Continue. Now we cover the freehold, and we already told you guys that freehold is when you have ownership of the property. Non-freehold means you don't have ownership. If you don't have ownership, you are tenant. There's 3 types of tenancies for non-freehold. Okay? One is called tenancy for the years. And tenancy for the years is when you have a starting and an ending date, and it didn't expire yet. Okay? Let's say I rented a property in January 2020, and I signed the lease for 1 year. So it's going to expire in January 2021. We are in October. So the lease is still good. So how do we call this? I just said, and it's written right in front of you guys.
For years. State for years.
Tenancy for years.
Tenancy for years. Okay.
Yes, tenancy for years is when we have outstanding lease. The lease did not expire yet. Okay, now we have left with two others. And one is called tenancy at will, and the other one is called tenancy at sufferancy. So if tenancy for years is the one that we still have the lease, and the leases did not expire, so what do you think the other two will be? Ta-da. Means that the lease expired. Okay?
Okay.
The only one that the lease is still good is tenants for years. So meaning the other two, we don't have a lease anymore. All right? The lease expired.
Right.
So then what is the difference between will and sufferance? Will is when the landlord agrees that the tenancy will stay on a month-to-month basis. It's called tenancy at will.
Mm-hmm. Month-to-month base.
He's on a month-to-month with the consent of the landlord. And tenancy of sufferancy, the name says it all. He's suffering. Why is he suffering? Huh? Why is he suffering? Because the landlord doesn't want him there. Okay?
The landlord.
The landlord wants him out. So what is the difference between tenants at will and tenants at sufferance? Number one, both of them doesn't have a lease anymore. Okay? And at will means what?
Month-to-month base.
Month-to-month.
With the consent, don't forget this. Consent of the landlord. The landlord agrees that the tenant stays. And at sufferance, the landlord
doesn't agree.
Yes, the landlord does not agree to that. He will have to move out, or the landlord will file for eviction. Okay? Now, here's what we were talking the other day. A lease survives the sale. We all understand that, right? Now, there's something that says here, to be enforceable must be in writing. Is it the first time you hear this?
No.
No? I already told you about that? Or this is the first time I've been telling you this?
I think it's the first time you've been telling.
Okay, so to be enforceable must be in writing is a rule by the state of statute of fraud. So if anybody asks you, what does the state of fraud means? To be enforceable must be in writing. Okay? To be enforceable must be in writing. There are an exception. Okay? So let's understand what this means. Let's say I want to sue the seller because the seller doesn't want to close anymore. But what I have with the seller is a verbal agreement. How can I enforce a verbal agreement in court?
With witnesses?
No, I can't.
No.
Okay? I can't. That's why this says to be enforceable, it must be in writing. Okay? Because I can't take the seller to court because I don't have anything in writing. What we have is a verbal agreement. So what is the exception? There's two exceptions. Exception number one is that, let's say I am buying a house from Vyacheslav, and Vyacheslav transferred the deed to me. I don't know why he would do that, okay? But he already transferred the deed to me. And then he changed his mind, and he doesn't want to sell it anymore. I can take the deed to court, and I will prove with the deed that at some point in time, we had an agreement. That's why he transferred the deed to me. That's the exception. We don't have a contract, but I have the deed in my name. Okay? Don't ask me who would do that because I have no idea, but this is one exception.
Aliens, I didn't understand. Can you repeat, please?
What is it again?
I didn't understand. Can you repeat, please?
Sure. I'm buying a house from Vyacheslav. Okay? I didn't buy yet. I didn't give him the money. But he transferred the deed to me. Now the deed is on my name. I just need to pay him. And he decided not to sell anymore. I don't have a contract with him, meaning I cannot enforce a contract because it's not in writing. But because he transferred the deed to me, then I can prove in court that some point in time we had an agreement. So that's the exception. We don't have a contract, but I have a deed in my name. So in that case, I can enforce.
Okay.
It's not in writing, but I can still enforce. The other exception is that Vyacheslav did not transfer the deed to me, but I gave him $20,000, okay, as a deposit, and I have a receipt that he signed it. And has to, both things needs to happen. Number one, I must give him a deposit. The second thing could be either or. He allowed me to do repairs on the property, improvement on the property, or he allowed me to take possession. Meaning he gave me the key and allowed me to move into the property. So because of those two things, then I can enforce in court. I can show the court that I gave him a deposit, and I can show the court that I made some improvements on the property. Even though without a contract, I can prove in court that at some point in time, me and Vyacheslav had an agreement. We good?
Yes.
Are you saying something, Alex? Yes, but nobody can hear you.
Sorry. Now I got you. When you don't have a reading document, but you have materials, proofs, you can go to the court and say that you had a verbal agreement.
And the material things is those things that I mentioned.
Uh-huh.
No witnesses, not anything different than what I said.
Uh-huh.
Number one, the deed was transferred to me. Number two, I gave a deposit, and he either allowed me to do repairs or he gave me possession of the property.
Okay.
One question, please.
Sure, Rafael.
On those examples, are you talking as a tenant or
No.
as a new owner?
As an owner or as a tenant?
But you giving those two examples between you and Viroslav.
Yeah, but the fresh one, I'm buying the house. He transferred the deed. We don't transfer the deed to a lease.
Okay.
Okay? We only transfer deed if I'm purchasing the property.
Okay.
Okay? All right,
I think
guys.
so. I don't think I understood the situation.
Okay. This is all about this. Concentrate on what I'm trying to explain so you will get it. Look, it's all about this. To be enforceable must be
my question. We're talking about a lease and you bought the house.
No, it doesn't matter. Okay, forget about the lease here. Okay, I'm going to cover up lease here. I'm only talking about this. To be enforceable must be in writing.
Okay, got it. Thank you. That was my question, yeah.
All right, that's all we're talking about. It's to be enforceable must be in writing, and then you understand the exceptions. Did you get the exceptions?
Yeah, perfect.
Good, excellent.
I thought it was a lease situation, and now I got it. Thank you.
Yes, no problem. All right, now, let me see if I can get this map here to you. Go here. Okay, I'm going to show you this. Let me stop sharing. Let me share again. Actually, I want to bring. See, I'm looking for flowers. Oh, you didn't see that. All right, good. Now, let me see if I can bring this little guy here and put this little guy inside this street. Now, you see those buildings here?
No?
No?
No se mira nada.
No se mira nada? No me diga.
Nada.
No.
No se mira nada. Eu pensava que você estava mirando. Let me stop sharing. And I'm going to share again. Share. Okay. Now, can you see it?
Yes.
Sí.
Are you sure you can see it?
Yes.
Estamos mirando.
The condo?
Então, siga mirando e me diga se tu... Well, actually, I can't say in Spanish. Continue watching and tell me, is this a condominium, a timeshare, or a co-op? Think. Give me 1 second.
There is no way to know.
Okay, Claudia, according to you, there's no way to know.
Yes.
And you're right. There's no way to know. We have, that's why we are bringing this scenario here so you guys understand that a co-op, a condominium, and a timeshare is an apartment. And there's no one way for you to look at and see which one is co-op and which one is not. But you need to know the difference between co-op, condominium, timeshare. So you don't make a mistake showing properties that the property type does not match with what the buyer is looking for. And I'm gonna give you very soon an example. First, let me explain you what co-op is. Those apartments here that you see, they are co-ops. They are not condominium. Okay? They are co-ops. What does that mean? It means that all those buildings here belongs to a corporation. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I can buy one of these apartments, but I'm actually not buying the apartment. I'm buying a share of the corporation. Okay? I'm buying share of the corporation. And the corporation is going to give me a document called proprietary lease. The proprietary lease will give me rights to possess the property, but I don't get a deed. Now, let me ask you guys, would you like to buy a property that you don't get the deed?
No.
No.
At the right price, maybe.
Well, depends on what you're looking for and your age.
Yeah.
Because if you're young and you buy a property, you are looking to two things: lifestyle and investment. Because maybe you're not going to live there forever, and then you want the price to go up to be in a competitive market. So when you sell, you make some money out of it. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Now, when you buy a co-op, you're going to get the market down because it's not going to be easy to find someone that wants to buy a co-op. What is the reason? Again, because a co-op, you don't get the deed. What do you get?
You're getting an interest in ownership.
You get a share. Okay, it's not much of an interest in ownership, but it's more like what you got is a share of the company.
Right.
Like you become a shareholder. Okay? And because I'm a shareholder, can I occupy the property? No. Let's think about it. I'm a shareholder of Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola has one apartment right here in Sunny Hills. Can I move into that apartment? Just because I'm a shareholder?
No.
No. So
You can do it.
that's why they give me a document called proprietary lease. What is a proprietary lease? It's a right to occupy a co-op apartment. Is it clear?
Yes.
I don't hear you, Alexa.
You cannot leave, but you can occupy it for a certain time, right?
No. It's yours. You can occupy
Mm.
forever. You can occupy the property. Okay? What is giving you the right to occupy the property is this document, proprietary lease. And you can also lease the property if you want to.
To other people. To other people.
Yes, you can lease the property, but then what are you going to have to give them? A
Sub-renting.
A sublease. Because proprietary lease is like a lease to you. Of course, you don't pay any rent because you bought the share. In terms, you bought the property, but you don't get the deed. So what you got actually was the share. And they will give you a proprietary lease that gives you the rights to occupy. That doesn't mean that you're going to pay monthly fee, okay? Now, these condominiums, let's say these apartments and buildings, they operate normal like any condominium association. They have association. The association has association fee. You pay property taxes, okay? It's like you are the owner, but you don't get a deed. That's why some people, they are skeptical and they don't want to buy. But I'll give you an example, and I'm going to show you where this property is located. And I'll give you the example. In general, in my office, I put two agents together, and they call each other, and one poses as a buyer, and the other one poses as an agent. Because if you're new in the business, a lot of times you're going to be embarrassed to talk on the phone because you don't know if you're going to have all the answers that the buyer is going to ask you. So it's good to practice with someone that's really not a buyer, because if you make a mistake, you're not risking your buyer, right?
Oh, yeah.
Risking losing the buyer. So I put these two agents together, and then one call, I'm the buyer. And then you don't need any training to be a buyer. You're going to ask you what you want and the price that you want to pay for, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to ask a bunch of questions, and then the agents will try to answer. So this agent, I didn't have anyone to partner with her. So what I did is I partnered with her. So I was the buyer, and then I called her. And this is what I told her. Look, I want to buy an apartment on the water for up to $250,000. And then she told me, oh, that doesn't exist. An apartment on the water, for you to put a boat, it's going to cost you a minimum of $700,000-$800,000. Now, that is not a true answer. If she was talking to a buyer, she would be losing a buyer. And that's one clue that I give to you guys. If you don't know the answer, don't give an answer because you think, right? Your answer should say, you know what? I'm going to check what is available, and whatever I find, I send it to you. Simple.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm going to find what is available. Now, I want to show you where this place is located. First of all, I'm going to tell you that this is a beautiful place. Beautiful place. They have a clubhouse right here with the pool. The first day that I visit, this is a little island, okay? Let me show you. You see here? I'm gonna zoom in. Look.
Uh-huh.
It's a little island. It's a beautiful place.
Wow.
When I went there the first time, I parked my car at the entrance, and I walk in with the buyer. And believe it or not, there's something that here in Miami, it's not very common. People were greeting you on the street. And one of them invited me to their house and offered us some tea, refreshments. I said, I don't believe it. It really looks like that I walk into a different dimension.
Yeah.
And that day was a Halloween. And they said that at night, all the people that wants to, of course, not everybody will participate, but the people who wants to will bring food to the clubhouse and they will share. And have fun. And you see the boats around the island?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this buyer, let me tell you about this buyer so you know that this is not a total loss to purchase a co-op. This buyer, she was 72 years old, single, no kids, no heirs. And she had a boat. And she came to me and said, Arlindo, I want to buy an apartment that I can put my boat there because I love boat. And my budget is $200,000. And you can buy a house for less than $200,000 right here on this island.
Wow.
And to put a boat is going to cost you $500 a year to have a boat in that island. So for this particular buyer, that product was suitable for them.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, no, I wouldn't buy a co-op because I have kids. When I die, I want my kids to get something with a value. And this doesn't hold value.
Yeah.
Hold value. It does hold the value, but doesn't appreciate much. You understand? Now, let me show you prices on this property. You're gonna be amazed. I'm gonna go on my.
Arlindo, you're from Rio de Janeiro, right?
I am.
I was remembering Ilha da Gigoia. You know that?
No, I don't remember. The name, it's not uncommon. It's
It's
like
in Barra da
inside,
Tijuca, right?
Barra da Tijuca, yeah.
Ilha da Gigoia.
The small river island. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I remember Ilha dos Pescadores, na Barra.
Yeah, but Ilha da Gigoia is an island. Little one.
Yeah. So let me show you guys listings on that island. Okay, let me bring this down here. And I'm going to zoom in as soon as I find the zoom. Oh, I found it right behind the cameras. Okay. Let me see where I am here. International report is down. Okay, right here. Okay, continue zooming in. Now you see the island. Did you find the island?
Uh-huh.
Okay, the island is right here, and there's a bunch of apartments for sale there. Now let's look into the prices. I'm going to isolate only this island, so it's going to show me only this island. Okay, now I'm going to go to results. Now look at the price. You can buy an apartment with 1 bedroom in an island on the water for $132,000.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
In Miami, imagine.
In Hallandale, but it's very close to Miami. This one doesn't have any pictures. So let me go to the next one. This one does have pictures, so let's look at it. That's the view of the apartment. Okay, and this is the
So
apartment.
the people can stay living there in the apartment.
Yes, of course, it's an apartment. Look at the kitchen, beautiful kitchen,
Beautiful.
beautiful. Look,
Mm-hmm.
all remodeled. That's about 4 years old unit building,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all well remodeled. Look at the bedroom. Look at the
Are you-
bathroom.
Maybe we have something similar in Brazil. That is the fração ideal, right?
Oh,
Before
yeah.
you have the final documents. Is that right?
No, I never heard of it.
Yeah,
This doesn't
when
show the balcony.
it's a new condo, it's a new apartment in Brazil. You buy it before you have the final documents, the title. You have this fração ideal, like you have a share of the land.
Oh no, that's timeshare. That's timeshare.
Oh no,
So-
no, I'm not talking about that. I forget it. I forget it. I was trying to make a parallel. Forget it.
All right. Look at the balcony. Balcony facing the canal. So you have
Wow,
a good
very
time
cool.
sit down the balcony, watching over the canal. You can fish. You can have your boats right in front of your apartment, and the price is $142,000.
wow,
Could be
super
as low as
cheap.
$132,000. So,
Yeah.
guys, this is nice, but not everybody wants. You see the property type? Let me put it here so you guys can see it.
This is a cooperative, right?
Right here, you see
Okay,
that I
show
made
it
the
there,
box? You see that I made the box?
Uh-huh.
Property type, co-op.
Cool.
You need to disclose to your buyer that you are showing them a co-op because they are not gonna get a deed. Okay?
Mhm.
Now, let me
Mhm.
tell you one thing that happened with one of my agents. He got a buyer, and the buyer was an investor. And she wants to buy an apartment to have about 5-6% return of investment, which is already a lot. But she was okay with 5%. So he showed her a few properties. She didn't like it. And then he sent them those co-ops without mentioning to her. And she and he took her to see the property. She loved the property. She was putting an offer, and then he called me to review the contract because he was already writing the contract, and he called me to review the contract. I said, "Where is the listing?" And then he gave me the listing, and I saw that the property type was a co-op. And then look at him, and I asked him, "Did you tell her that this is a co-op?" A silent. He opened his eye big. He lost the buyer.
Of course.
He lost the buyer. When he called the buyer and said, "Well, this is a co-op," she got upset. "Why did you show me a co-op? I don't want a co-op. I want an apartment where I will own the apartment with the deed." Okay? Now, I wanted to make it clear for you guys that you do own the apartment in terms of moving in, taking possession, enjoyment, but you don't get a deed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You don't get a deed of the property. What do you got?
Co-op.
So you got the share.
Interest.
Got a
Share.
share of the company. And what is the name of the document that will allow you to move in?
I don't remember.
So
It's not that.
owners.
It's a different name. It's not I don't remember.
No, it's an owner's lease, something like that. Permanent
Proprietary lease.
proprietary lease.
Proprietary lease. Yes.
Oh yeah, proprietary list.
Oh yeah, proprietary lease. Yeah.
Ah,
A little delay. Huh?
Studying by ourselves, we
Like
will
a-
never get it. What is a co-op?
like a,
Never.
There's some disadvantage. Now, co-ops, you know. Now, understand. A co-op is located on a building. The building has association. The association has association fees. The association has the condo docs. And we need to get the, what is it called? It's financial documents for the corporation. Remember, you buy a share of a corporation. So you need to get the financial documents of the corporation because you need to know what's the financial situation of the company that you're buying shares from. We good?
Yes.
If the company goes like bankrupt, you can lose your house.
No, it's never going to go bankrupt. Okay? In general, these co-ops, they are located in a lease land for 100 years.
Got it.
Okay? So you must give a disclosure to the buyer that he's buying a co-op. And let's talk about rights to cancel. All right, remember that we were talking about when you make a contract, you put conditions on the contract, right? Those conditions are called contingencies, right? It's conditions that will help the buyer to walk away from the contract without losing the deposit, okay? Now, when I'm buying an apartment, besides those conditions that we put it on the contract, we also have 3 days after receiving the condo docs to cancel the contract. Why did they create this rule? Let's say I am buying an apartment and I have a motorcycle, okay? And the condo doc says that I cannot have a motorcycle parked inside the parking lot. Do I still want to buy that property?
No.
No, so then I need to have an opportunity to cancel the contract because I found something on the condo docs that I don't like it. Understand that?
Okay. Yes.
Now, another thing that we always have to be aware of is that if you're taking a listing or when you're showing a property to a buyer, you need to make sure if the association allows pets. And you know what happened a lot? The listing agent goes to the association and asks the question, do you guys allow pets? And they say, yes. So then they put it there, yes, we allow pets. And then they show the property to Guilherme. And Guilherme says, wow, I have a pet. No, it's okay. The association will allow pets. Beautiful. And then write a contract. Now the Guilherme filed the application to the association. So then he went to the interview with the association, right? And he's having a conversation and he says, you know what? I love the fact that you guys accept pets because I have a German Shepherd. And then the association tells you, no, no, no. The maximum is 20 pounds. And the German Shepherd is about 50, 60 pounds. So, now we have a problem, right?
Yes.
So we need to be aware of all those restrictions before we take the listing, and not before we take the listing, before we list the listing, and before we show to the buyer, right?
Right.
Now, all those things is going to show up on the condo docs. Now, once we have received the condo docs, once the buyers receive the condo docs, the buyer has 3 days to cancel, okay? 3 business days to cancel. If he finds anything that he doesn't like, then he has up to 3 business days to cancel. We good?
Yeah, because in 3 business days is fair. It's a fair time to read
to review the document.
To review the document.
And agree or disagree with the contents. Another example, let's say I have a truck. I work with cleaning pools. And I have a commercial truck. And the association says no commercial vehicles in the parking space. So then I don't want to buy the property because I'm not going to put my car on the street.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to find out all of those things on the condo docs. And that's the reason why if we are buying a condominium, we have 3 business days to cancel. Now, if it's a resale, what is a resale? I'm buying from a previous owner. If I'm buying from the developer, it's not a resale. It's a new construction. You understand the difference from resale and new construction? Okay. If I'm buying from a new constructions, I got 15 days to review the condo docs and cancel.
Mm-hmm.
Or cancel for whatever reason that I want. I have 15 days to cancel the contract on a new development, and I have 3 business days to cancel on a resale. And that goes
Orlando,
by, yes.
I have a question. In these 15 days, when you buy new constructions, do you need to have a motivation to cancel or not?
No,
No.
no.
You just say, I don't want to I want to cancel. Just
Yes.
that.
Mhm.
Okay.
And they will give you 100% of your money back.
You got your money back, yeah. Your
For
deposit.
co-ops, right?
Huh?
For co-ops.
No, that goes for both.
Okay.
The same time for co-ops and condominium. Resell 3 business days and new construction 15 calendar days.
Okay.
Those are the difference. On a resale, it's 3 business days. And on a new constructions, it's 15 calendar days. That goes for co-ops and for condominiums.
Condominiums.
All right. Timeshare is 10-10.
Arlindo, can't we have the buyer read this before signing?
No,
Wow,
no.
it would be easier.
But he has a chance to cancel. So that will be okay. Let me tell you one thing, okay? The condo doc in general, they charge $50. The association charge $50. The
Mhm.
buyer, the seller in general, he doesn't have it. Okay? And he's going to purchase. It's the seller's obligation to provide the condo docs to the buyer. Okay? So then the seller goes and pays $50 and gives to a potential buyer. The potential buyer doesn't want it and doesn't return it. And then comes another buyer. Oh, I want to see the condo docs. And then he goes and buy another condo doc for $50 and give to the potential buyer. And the potential buyer says, you know what? I don't want to buy it, and doesn't return the condo docs. You see a reason why it's not good to provide the condo docs before we are in contract?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, good. So reviewing the cancellation period. Co-ops and condominiums. 15 calendar days for new constructions and 3 business days for resale. The cancellation for timeshare is 10-10. 10 from new constructions and 10 from resale. We good?
Yes.
All right. Now, and the documents that we need to provide are the co-ops financial reports that we need to give them. Okay. Now let's look in the condominium. Condominium, the best way to describe a condominium is a cubic space in the air. That's what you buy. You buy a cubic space in the air, but you do get a deed for that cubic space in the air. So that's why it's very popular, because you buy, you got the deed, and then if the price goes up, you're gonna benefit from it when you sell it. Okay?
Okay.
What conveys on a ship on the co-op is the shares. And what conveys on a ship on a condominium is the deed. You got a deed. Okay? And then you're also gonna pay taxes. You're gonna pay the condominium association fee. All right?
All right.
Now, what are the documents that you must provide to the buyer? The declaration of condominium, the articles of incorporation for the association. Remember, the association is an entity, right? Why is it an entity? Because they need to open a banking account to deposit all the fees that every homeowner pays every month. And he needs to use their banking accounts to pay all the expenses. He needs to pay the insurance. He needs to pay the electricity for the common areas. If the condominium has employees, they need to pay the employees. So that's why a condominium association has to be a corporation. And if it's a corporation and you're buying it, you must receive an articles of incorporation for the association. You must receive the bylaws, which is the rules and regulation. We call also a condo docs. And the information regarding leasing units and assessments, things that you have. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Now, you also get a deed for the common areas. Remember that you also own the common areas, not all of it, because
Mhm.
it's partially divided. Right? Let's say
Right.
I buy this apartment, okay? And my apartment has a pool and has a parking space and has a gym, right? Do I
Uh-huh.
own all of those things?
In common.
Yes,
You
I
own in
own
common.
with all the other homeowners.
Uh-huh.
So what type of title do I get for the common areas?
No, you don't have title.
Tenancy in common,
Tenants in common, yeah.
because I own with all the other owners. And for
Yeah.
myself, depends. We good?
Mm-hmm.
Cancellation, we already spoke about cancellations, resell. Now let's talk about timeshare. Guys, if you don't know what timeshare is, it's a great idea that whoever invented became a millionaire.
Mm.
Because if you build 100 apartments in a timeshare, you can sell it 5,000 times.
Yes.
That is the great invention. The guy became a millionaire. Because when you buy a timeshare, you are getting 1 week ownership. Okay? It's also called a interval ownership. Okay? Interval ownership means that you own only for 1 week. It's like a vacation home. All right? But
Mm-hmm.
you can sell every unit 50 times because we have 52 weeks in 1 year, right?
Yes.
2 weeks they separate for maintenance. So then they sell for 50 different people. That is a timeshare. So when you show a property, you must know if that apartment is not a timeshare, because if it is, the buyers think that he's gonna move in, and he won't,
Mm-hmm.
because he can only use the timeshare 1 week per year. We're clear with that?
Yes.
But they do got a deed for 1 week. And guess what? They pay taxes on that 1 week.
Uh,
All right?
But what is the
Alright.
reason that you're gonna buy a timeshare?
Man, I don't know.
Yeah,
I would never buy a timeshare.
that's what 1 week a year.
But
It was a thing. It's a thing of the past.
it was. But they still exist in Orlando. There's a bunch of timeshare, and there's a lot of people crying to sell it, and nobody wants to buy it.
They have all these "get out of my timeshare" type of. All you hear on the radio.
And this is the purchase that gives you happiness 2 times, when you buy and when you sell.
It's so easy. Go to a hotel.
Yes. Let me see. Claudia is out. Second. All right, continue. Let me move this thing here to the side. I like it better. Nice. Oh, You guys are not seeing me, huh? Nobody complains about my camera not being on?
Your camera is on for me.
Now it is. Oops.
Uh,
Let me go back. Where were you? Why did this appear on me? I think it's because
time sharing.
sharing. Okay. All right. On a timeshare, the contract must contain the current year, the timeshare assessment, form of timeshare ownership. In general, it's interval ownership, managing entity, in terms of closing costs. Rights to cancellation, we already saw, it's 10-10,
Uh-huh.
right? Interval ownership, oh yeah, it's over. Okay, guys, I'll give you 10 minutes to do the quiz. And then I'll give you
Quiz.
highlights.
The quiz in the page 199, right?
Must be. Nope. 175.
175.
Yeah, unit 7. Oh, this is unit 8.
107. Is this a unit 8?
Yeah, this is 8. So you're right. This is 199. All right, guys. 10 minutes to do the quiz.
Ah,
Alessandra,
See?
what you're doing there? I'm sorry, I was having internet issues. So, what you're doing?
What I'm doing? The exercise?
No, I just
The quiz
the
for Unit
exercise
8,
that
Claudia.
What?
Hey, Claudia.
Hi.
We are doing the quiz for Unit 8.
Ah, the
Thank
Pages
quiz.
you.
199
199. Sorry,
and
I didn't
200.
understand your question.
Thank you, Rafael. Thank you. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. I'm gonna start to doing it.
Don't worry.
How we doing? We good?
Can you give us more 5 minutes, please?
Okay. I'll give you 2, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Alias,
Yes. Yes.
can you please explain to me again a little bit of homestead? I think I'm lost something. I didn't understand what is that exactly.
Okay, if you give me not too long, about half an hour, I'll be into homestead, okay? On chapter 9. I'm gonna explain you a few things about homestead, okay?
Oh, okay, because I have some questions here about homesteads in this quiz.
Homestead means casa de família, bem de família.
Now, homestead is the house where you live in. You can only have one homestead at a time. You cannot have 2
Bem
homesteads.
de família, ok.
Yeah. Homestead is your primary residence.
Bem de família.
On this quiz, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions about homestead, and I don't know anything about it.
I left them all blank too. Same here.
Yeah.
Really?
Really.
All right, we'll see together. Are we ready?
Yes.
Hold on.
Nothing the same.
Ok.
All right, guys, time to turn on the camera. If I don't see you, FREC doesn't see you either. And then I can get your attendance for today.
I have my camera on. I never
you
turn
do.
my camera off.
But there's some people missing, like Gabriela. Gabriela, are you here with us?
I'm here. I just don't want to be on camera. I don't even like taking pictures. Like, it's torture for me to be on camera.
Torture for you to be? Okay, then you move your camera away from you and turn on the camera so I know you're here. And sometimes you raise your hand so I can see you here. Yeah. Why you don't want to be in the camera? You're such a beautiful girl.
No way.
Yeah.
Who agrees with me?
Beautiful, beautiful.
You see, you're such a beautiful girl, and you don't want to be. Look at me, I'm an ugly guy, and I'm in camera,
I hate being on camera.
and I don't mind. I'm trying to get younger every day, you know. All right, let's go. The most comprehensive interest in real estate property that an individual may possess is an estate for
A fee simple state, D.
a fee simple.
D.
Okay, fee simple is the most comprehensive way to own a real estate property.
Yep.
Physical components of a real property do not include what?
C.
C. features or items there are?
D.
We all get it right, right? Claudia, you also don't want to be in camera? Because I don't see you anymore. Yeah, you can move the camera away from you, but you're also a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
I want to see you. You're depriving us from your beauty, both of you. I don't want to be deprived from your presence. All right, which statement regarding co-ops and condominiums is true?
C.
It's a D.
D. Oh.
You do pay taxes. Remember, I told you guys about that. You have a co-op, but you pay taxes. You have a condominium, you also pay taxes on the condominium. The bundle of legal rights associated with the real property does not include it. Which one?
D.
G.
D. Oh, someone else said something. And so far, I
It's a
thought
D.
I was just me and you, Alexander.
Yeah. They need to pay
I
us.
read and you answer. I read and you answer. The bundle of legal rights associated. Oh, I already read that. A son gives his mother a conventional life estate for her lifetime. The deed states that upon her death, the property will transfer to her granddaughter. What type of estate does the granddaughter possess during the grandmother's lifetime?
A.
Very good. Remainder estate. At the expiration of the lease period and before renegotiating of the lease, a tenant continues to occupy the apartment. The tenant's possession is called?
B.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Tenancy
said
of
B also.
sufferance.
A. B.
Yes, before negotiation, right?
Yeah. A woman receives a new microwave for Christmas. The microwave was
Hold on,
installed.
hold on. 7 is B or A? I put B.
7 is B.
Oh, okay.
All right, a woman receives a new microwave for Christmas. The microwave was installed above her range by screwing the units to the kitchen cabinets and venting it through the attic. The microwave is considered?
A. Mm-hmm.
The homestead tax exemption is deducted from the
B.
assessed value. All right. Let's talk about the homestead. The homestead was created to give people certain discount. And this is up to chapter 18. But we're going to talk a little bit about it now. When you homestead a property, meaning you are declaring that that is your primary residence. That's the reason why you cannot have 2 homestead properties, because you can only have 1 primary residence. Okay? So we know that the government will charge property taxes to all of us, and they will assess it a value to the property. Now, we have many different types of value, and we were talking on chapter 1, I believe, when we said about appraisers, that there are 5 entities or person who needs an appraisal. And we all agree that buyer needs an appraisal, the seller needs an appraisal, the bank needs an appraisal, the insurance company needs an appraisal, and the government needs an appraisal for what? To charge property taxes. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that value, it's different. All the values could be different. Okay? Now, when the government, there is a department called Appraisers County Department. Okay? The Appraisers County Department is the one who's going to assess it, a value to your property. Doesn't necessarily mean that that value is the market value. It might be less, never more. It might be less. And your property taxes will be calculated over the assessed value. And if it's a homestead, you can get up to $50,000 discount from your assessed value. So if my property is $100,000, I can get up to $50,000 discount, and I will calculate the taxes on $50,000 remaining. Okay? So property taxes is calculated based on the assessed value, and the discounts are deducted from the assessed value. Good?
Good. You can contact the appraisal county department directly and ask them to come to us to value your property, right?
No.
No?
They do that by themselves. They don't even
Okay.
come to your property. Okay, what do you do? This is what you do, and we're gonna see that on chapter 18. You can dispute the assessed value. Okay? If they assess the value to your property too high, then you can go and dispute that amount.
What is the answer of question 9?
What?
What is the answer of question 9?
B.
It's deducted from the assessed value. A husband and wife own a home with title in both names. They have one minor child and one adult son. The husband dies. Which is most correct? Now remember, on your real test, they're not gonna put most in capital. They wanna trick you.
Okay.
So what is the most correct?
B.
Survivorship.
Yes.
What is?
C.
C?
The widow owns the entitled property through right of survivorship. Okay, the real estate protected by homestead rights is limited to, well, this was not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Let me talk about that. This was not supposed to be here. All right, so.
Why?
Why? Because we didn't talk about it, so you shouldn't have any questions.
No, it is in the chapter 8. I read this in the chapter 8.
Yeah, but, all right.
It's in the page 186 on the top. 186 on the top.
Okay.
Size of homestead.
Now, when we have a homestead, that doesn't mean if I don't pay my mortgage, the bank will not foreclose on my property. You guys understand that? Okay. There's another thing that it's called a special assessment. And I'm going to ask you guys, when you hear the word special assessment, what do you think that is?
Special assessment.
It's a fee outside of the condo or condominium fee for something that may need to be fixed that hasn't already been, that you don't have money in the reserve for.
Okay. Now, Joseph, great answer. The only problem, Joseph, is that we have a confusion in the industry about a special assessment. By law, when you say special assessment, is referred to government fees when they do something in your neighborhood that improves the value of your property that is not included on your property taxes. Give you guys an example. The government repaved my street, okay? And that amount of money that they spend to repave the street, it's not in the property taxes. So then they charge a special assessment, okay? So when you're looking on a contract, and this is very important for us to know. Now, guys, forget about your test. This is for your life. And I'm gonna bring something here so you guys can see that, because this is good. Now tell me what you see. What do you see on my screen?
You.
Huh?
A white rectangle.
You.
White rectangle.
All right. How about now?
Nothing.
You don't see anything?
No.
All right, then stop sharing and share it again. One, good. Now you
Oh,
see.
now I see.
Now you see.
Yeah,
Now let me come.
delete the co-op list. This might be a language question, but isn't assessment the word for like let's say some audit, something like that?
No. Assessment, Joseph, it's not wrong with his answer. But the only thing, it's also called the special assessment. In Portuguese, it's cota extra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So he's not wrong when he says that special assessment is for when the condominium needs to do some repairs on the building and they don't have reserves, then they need to come up with a special assessment so everybody will pay a part of the expenses so they can do the repairs.
I thought assessment was some kind of evaluation, some judgment, some
No,
measurement. The word assessment.
no. Assessment, the word assessment is when you assess something to something. Okay, like assessed value is a value that is being assessed to your property.
Okay.
Now, I want you to look into this. Signability, assumption, closing, title evidence, special assessment. Do you see here? I'm going to zoom in so everybody can see it. You see here special assessment.
Uh-huh.
Now, Joseph, are you here with us, Joseph?
I'm here.
All right, good. Now, look into the contract. We'll look into an as-is contract, okay? And we have here on the as-is contract a section for special assessment.
Right.
And this is a mistake that I've seen agents make very often. Because when you look into special assessment, because everybody thinks that special assessment refers to the association, when they look at special assessment, then they come here and say, the seller shall pay the special assessment in full prior to closing. You see that? The seller shall pay the special assessment in full at closing. All right, so then the sales associate, he believes he's protecting the buyer. Okay? He believes he's protecting the buyer because he put here a check mark right here in this little box here that the seller will pay. Now, about, let's say, 10 days prior to closing, the title company requested to the association something that's called staple letter. It's all the information with the relationship between the association and that particular unit. And the staple letter shows that there is an open special assessment of $25,000. Then the title company calls the buyer's agent and asks the buyer's agent, look, there is a $25,000 special assessment. And then the agent says, oh, no, it's okay. I already put it on the contract that the seller is the one who's going to pay and the buyer signed the contract. This special assessment is for the government. Okay? Now let's read it here.
Do you support herd immunity as a strategy? Essentially just
okay. Special assessment. At closing, seller shall pay in full amount of liens imposed by public body. Public body does not include condominium or homeowners association. They are certified, confirmed, and ratified before closing. In the amount of the public body's most recent estimate and assessment for an improvement which is substantial complete of an effective date. But there has no result in a lien being imposed on the property. Now, do you understand, guys, that this special assessment on the contract has absolutely nothing to do with the homeowner association?
Uh-huh.
Do you see that now?
Uh-huh.
See, Joseph? Joseph? Joseph is sleeping. Joseph, can you hear me?
Maybe his.
I can hear you. President Trump was just so loud in the background, it drowned everything out. I'm going to turn it down right now. It's a crazy time in DC. I'm sorry, I couldn't get away from it. I'm here right now.
All right, so do you see what this special assessment is about? Not condominium or homeowners association. See? Now, let's go back to what we were talking here. And I want you guys to understand what I'm going to put here. Let's talk about the special assessment, and I will complete all of this question here. Okay, and this is very simple, okay? Let's say the city decides to repave your street. And the city says, you know what? It's going to cost $10 per linear foot. And the city will pay 30%. Now let's look into this here. I'm gonna put it right here. Let me get this. Put a line here. Oops, not a white line because nobody sees it. Okay, put a line here, and I'll put another line here. Okay, so this is the street. If anybody hire me to paint the lines on the street, I will be fired. Okay, so this is my house. And my house is 110 by 220. Now, remember one thing. The first number always refers to the front of the property, not the depth. The second number is the depth. Okay, the first number is always the front of the property.
A largura.
Não, comprimento.
Comprimento.
Okay, the front, the first number always refer to this area here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So they are not gonna make the design like I did. They're gonna put a 110 by 220, and you're gonna have to pick one number to do the calculation.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that the city charged $10 per linear feet. Linear foot. So what is my linear foot size?
$110.
110. Yes, because the linear is the one on the front. And the first number is always for the one on the front. So it's going to be 110. Now, the city tells me this. I'm going to pay half of the balance. Remember, it costs $10. It costs $10 per linear feet. The city will pay 30%. And the difference, I will pay half. Why do I pay half?
Because the guy of the other side of the street is going to pay the other half.
Almost correct.
The neighbor in the front.
Almost correct. Okay? And I will tell you what is the correct answer. Who pays for the other half?
The other?
Who pays for the other half? I pay for one half. Who pays for the other half?
The condo.
The county?
You know, I'll tell you the correct answer. I don't care. Because I pay for half. Who's going to pay the other half? I don't care. And I wanted to make that thing clear because what if it on the other side is a lake? Is that a neighbor across the street from me? No.
No.
What if the other side is a cliff? Who's going to pay for them? Right?
Yeah.
So Who pays the other half?
We don't care.
Yes, I don't care. Now, you have all the information you need. They are going to charge $10 per linear foot. The city will pay 30%. And from the balance, I will pay half. 2 minutes for you guys to tell me how much I will pay. 2 minutes. Clock is ticking.
Hold on. 110.
Guilherme, do you have the answer?
I think so.
All right, what is it?
385.
You agree to that, Rafael?
Yeah.
Who else?
35, 385.
385.
Can you do this
Do that now.
count?
Okay. The first thing we need to do is to calculate $10 times 110. Right? Because that's how much they're going to charge. $10 per linear foot. And the linear foot for my property is 110 feet. So that's going to give me 1100.
00.
Okay? Now, the city will pay 30%. So what is left is 70, right? So then I multiply by 70%. What do I get? 770, right?
Something. Yeah.
But I pay half. So if I pay half, I'm going to divide it by 2. And that will be 385. This is a question that could be in your test. Very simple question. Okay? Very simple.
Lina, one
Tell you the
question.
size. What, Claudia?
I'm sorry, I have a question. What it means that other, it says there 110 linear foot, and I know the 110 is in the front, but what it means the other number? Is the
220.
high?
220 is the depth, of the property. It's
Oh, okay.
this side here. Look.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
110 is the first number is always the front, and the second number is always the depth.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so this is a simple question, very simple to find the answer. So we did the first time, and you guys got it. And I will just make some changes here and see if everybody can get it. So let's say that this is going to be $15, and the city will pay 35%. And what I have here is
Input caption.
sorry. What I have here is 135. Okay, so how much do I pay? How much? Anybody has a number already?
Yes.
What is it?
658.
Anybody else?
I got 658 and something.
Yes.
Everybody got the same number.
Yep.
Alexandra, did you get it?
Math's not for me.
It is.
Mm-mm.
It is. Look, there is an investor that contacts you, Alexandra. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to buy a property, an investment property, for $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants a return of 7% per year.
Mm.
That $1,000 property is going to give you $30,000 commission. Do you want to give them to me just because you don't like math? Or you going to work your butt off to learn and love math to be worth of that $30,000?
I will.
Did I change your mind about math now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Guys, this is very simple. Let's do it again. 15
Alexander got a teacher and a coach at the same time.
15 times 135, because 135 is my front feet. Okay? That will be equal to 2,000 and how much? Who has it? $2,025. $2,025.
Yeah.
The city says that the city is going to pay 35%. So what is left is 65. Then I'll multiply that by 65%. And I will get 1,300 and how much?
13, 16, and 25.
16 and 35. And then I will
25,
divide that by 2, 25. And I will divide that by 2, will give me 658, 12. Good?
I will take a picture. Hold on. I'm going to take a picture.
Okay, but this is for understanding, not memorize. Remember, guys, the tip to get all the math question correct is understanding why we're doing this. So when you understand why, then it's become easy for you to do the formula. Reading the question again is that the city is going to repave the street. It's going to cost $15 per linear foot. So you're going to have to measure the front of your house because it's going to cost $15 per each foot on the front of your house. So if the front of your house has 135 feet, then it's going to cost you 15 times 135.
Mm-hmm.
Good? Now, the city tells me that they're going to pay 35%. So which means that what is left is 65.
Mm-hmm.
Because 35 minus 100, which is the total, will give me 65. Now, I calculate 65% of the total amount, and I got 1,316. And I know that I am only responsible for half of this bill.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care who's going to pay the other half. So I will divide that by 2, and that's my bill.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We good?
We're good.
All right, excellent. Now, this is called, what is it called again? Joseph, what is this called?
What, homestead?
Nope.
What, special assessment?
Special assessment.
The cursor was by homestead. Sorry.
Okay. This is called special assessment. Now you know the special assessment is about this, not about a condominium. Okay.
Okay.
So this is special assessment.
So nothing to do with the condominium per se.
Nothing to do. Yes.
Gotcha.
Of course, the condominium also called it a special assessment. But when you read anything related to a contract that talks about special assessment, you talk about this type of special assessment knock on the door.
Do they ever pass an assessment on to the buyer?
They could.
I mean, is
Because
it common
everything
or
in
is
real
it,
estate is negotiable, right?
well, I mean, I guess that was more of a practice question. Is it common that the seller pays it before, or is it something
It's
that you?
common that the seller pays, yes.
Okay.
It's common that the seller will pay for. But you see on the contract and on the condo writer, I'm going to show you guys a condo writer, even though it has nothing to do with our 19 chapters. There is no one single thing in the 19 chapter that talks about condo writer. But as I said at the beginning, this is more like a real estate seminar than a 63 hours. Why is it
Okay.
a seminar? Because if you understand the business, everything becomes clear to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're not concentrating on learning to pass the exam. You're concentrating on learning because you want to be a professional in this business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so going back to homestead. If I have a homestead property and I don't pay my mortgage, the bank will foreclose my property, even if it's my primary residence, my homestead. Okay? 2, if I don't pay my special assessment, this one that we just saw, the government will foreclose on my property. If I don't pay property taxes, the government will foreclose on my property, even if my property is homestead.
Wow.
Why did I say that? Because there are situations where you have creditors, you owe money to companies, and those companies cannot force you to sell your property to pay the debt. You understand that?
Yep.
Because it's your homestead, those companies cannot force you to sell your property to pay the debt. And I said it before because I don't want you guys to get confused. Those companies does not include the bank where you own the mortgage, does not include the city for the special assessment, and does not include the county for property taxes.
Ah, okay.
It's money that you owe to another company. They cannot force you to sell your homestead property to pay the debt. But there are some exceptions. Let's say your property is outside the municipality. Okay? If your property is outside the municipality, the first 160 acres is considered to be homestead. Okay? Because you have a big land. So what is a homestead on a big land? If I live in that property, right? That's my primary property and it's my farm and I have 200 acres. They can force me to sell how many acres?
40.
Oh, you see, you're good in math. And you said you're not. You were the first one to answer. We all agree to that. If my property is 200 acres, then they can force me to sell 40 acres because 160 is my homestead and I don't have to sell it.
Uh-huh.
What if my property is 150 acres? How much can they force me to sell?
Nothing.
Nothing. We're talking about outside the municipality. Now, if you are inside the municipality, the numbers changed to 1 acre.
What do you mean with municipality?
Half acre, sorry. Huh?
What do you mean with municipality?
Dentro da cidade e fora da cidade.
Okay, but your home is always in city.
No,
Some
you
city.
can have a farm and you live in a farm. Right?
Yeah.
The urban area, right?
Yes, urban area.
Oh, okay.
Ok? Você
Okay,
pode
okay.
morar na fazenda. And you are outside the municipality. If you are outside the municipality, your homestead is set to be 160 acres. If you are inside the municipality, your homestead is half acre. Okay? Inside the municipality, your homestead is half acre. Meaning, if you have 1.5 acres, how much can they force you to sell?
1 acre.
You see how good you are in math?
Oh my gosh! If I don't know this, oh, I'm terrible.
We good at it? Right?
Yes.
Half acre. What if you have 0.8 acres? How much can they force you to sell?
0.3.
0.3. Very good in math again. What if I have 0.4 acres? How much can they force
Nothing.
you to sell?
Nothing.
All right, now going back to our question. Now it's all clear to you, right? The real estate protected by homestead rights is limited to what?
160.
B.
The B and D are the same. The B and D are the same.
Saying and or.
Yeah, you're right. B and D is the same.
Uh-huh.
So B
And I
or
put
D.
B and D are the same.
D says or.
No, there is an and or.
And an or.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Ah.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
an or.
right.
Yeah, you see. Read
So
the
it's
full
D.
answer. Read the full answer.
It's D.
Yeah, correct.
Thank
Now,
you.
this subject is clear now, right?
Yeah.
Good. A constitutional homestead is owned by a man who is head of the family, consisting of himself, his wife, and their 3 children. The man dies unexpectedly. After his death, the widow owns the homestead.
A.
Which one? By operation of law, the widow owns the life estate,
B.
the homestead, and the children are vested remainder-men. She
B. I
does
put B.
own it as a fee simple, but the children are the remainder-men.
I put B.
Good. Which state features right of survivorship?
B.
They by entirety.
Good. Chapter 475 defines real property as any interest or estate in.
Guess I didn't have time to finish.
So, who answered that question? Nobody?
No, too many words.
Too
Too many
words.
words.
All right. Defines real property as any interest in real estate in land, business enterprise, business opportunity, include any assignment, leasehold, subleasehold, or mineral rights. All of this is real property.
G.
Why one is not, A is not?
Because cemetery lots is
Very
not.
good. You got it. Why? How about B?
Mobile home is not.
Mobile homes. Very good. How about
Mobile
C?
home. Cemetery again. Mobile home
Right.
again.
Good. You got it. You see, by elimination, and you knew
Yeah.
you knew you should be able to answer that question.
I didn't have time. You are rush.
No, I'm talking to everybody. You mean
Okay.
você.
Okay.
In Florida, co-ops and timeshares are regulated by Division of Florida Condominium Timeshare and Mobile Homes. Good?
Okay.
Okay, guys. 16. A condominium unit buyer has how? Let me take this thing out of the front of my screen because I can't see it.
15. C.
All right. So which one is that?
C. 15 days.
C, 15 days. Developers of condominium projects with more than 20 units must give buyers.
I think he's A.
Yeah, it is A. Which characteristic applies to condominium ownership?
G.
Condominium receives a deed.
Yeah.
All these applies to the constitutional homestead exemption, except Which one? Nobody?
I didn't have time to do.
I thought you.
It does not constitute a tenancy by the entireties, just because he's married when he filed for homestead. A woman paid cash for 60 acres, Lemon Grove in Citrus County. The estate is for an identified period of time, indefinite time of period of time. The woman does not own which type of state in the property.
He has a fee simple estate or a leasehold estate.
No, no. You know why you said that? Because you didn't read the knot.
Yeah.
Not have a leasehold. Okay. The question is asked. So which one she doesn't have? If she owns the property, she can have a fee simple. Could be a freehold, because freehold means ownership, and could be state in severity if she's single, but never a leasehold, because a leasehold is not for owner.
Okay. The 19 is which letter is 19? I'm sorry.
D.
D. Okay.
All right. Let's take a break. We extended a little, but let's take the break because we need to stretch our legs and do other things.
Until 10?
Until 9. Why 10? You want 1 hour and a half?
9. Oh yeah, 9. Sorry.
Yeah, until 9. 9. All right. See you back soon. All right. Are we back? Hello, everyone. Let's resume the class.
Here.
All right. That's chapter 9. We're going to apply some things that we learned on chapter 8 on chapter 9. Let me open the screen here. Wrong unit. All right, good. Here.
I'm here too.
Okay. Let's see who is missing. Let's see Claudia here. John is here. Joseph is here. Gabriela, I see your ceiling. All right, guys. We are going to see now the title, the deed, and the ownership restriction. Now,
Are you not going to give the highlights of chapter 8?
do you want it?
No.
Of
No.
course you do.
Because you told us that you...
Yes, you want to. Yes, let's go to highlights.
One second.
Chapter 8 highlights.
One second, please.
I'm still open my book here. Okay, guys, page 179. To everybody but Alexandra. Line 1 through 8. No, Alexandra too, 1 through 8.
1 through 8.
Yes. Now, inside of this box that says definitions associated with water rights, you're going to highlight the erosion and the definition of erosion.
Mm.
Will you please repeat?
Yes, inside this box that says definition associated with water rights, you're going to highlight erosion and the definition for erosion. All right, to everybody, 181, page 181, line 4 through 17. Page 184, to everybody. 10 through 19.
10 to 19.
Page 185 goes to everybody. 12 to 15 through 16. And 37 through 42. Page 186. lines 30 through 35. Page 188, 1 through 13. Page 191, 1 through 5. And on line 5, I want you guys to underline proprietary lease. That's what you get when you purchase a co-op to occupy the property. Proprietary lease. Also on page 181, you're gonna highlight on the figure 8.7 on the middle of the page, figure 8.7. You're gonna highlight 15 days, 15 calendar days, residential, co-ops, apartment, and condominium units sold by developer. Page 192. You're gonna highlight on line 1, only condominium documents. And then you're gonna highlight 5 through 11.
In 192, right?
Yes, 192. 195, 32 through 37. All right, that's it.
Do you teach every day, Alindo, or just?
In just Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Sometimes I teach in the morning also.
Oh,
Yeah, but I'm a full-time broker, so I don't have much time to teach in the morning. I'm already teaching my agents.
I know.
Yeah. All right, so title and deeds. Now we understand the title is a concept. Deed is the real document. Okay, when you say you got the title, title is just the concept. What is the name of the document that you really get?
Deed.
Deed. Good. Now we're gonna learn here new words, and it's gonna be like new words for everybody in general, but nothing to be afraid of. Now, what is the legal title versus equitable title? And I believe I already explained you guys this. When you got the legal title, is that you bought the property and you got the title. Let's understand one thing in Florida, okay? We get the title the day we close. Let's say I bought a property and it's financed for 30 years. I put only 3.5% down. When do I get the deed?
After you pay the
When
mortgage.
when you close on the home?
Yes, I said at the beginning, I got the deed.
Great question.
Day of closing. Okay, you got it right, Joseph. We got the deed at the day of closing. Doesn't matter for how long you are financing the property. You don't get the deed when you pay off. You got the deed at the day of the closing. Now, if I buy a property from the seller and the seller is financing, we call it a seller finance. In that case, the seller is not going to give me the deed. It's going to be complicated for the seller to foreclose on my property if I don't pay. Right? Seller is not a bank. He's just financing for me. So what I get is something called contract for deed. That's what I get. I don't get the deed. I get a contract for deed. So when do I get the real deed?
When you close on the home, when you finish payments.
When I finish pay, yes. In that example, I will get the deed when I finish pay. But what do I get then? I get something that's called the equitable title. Let me give you an example so everybody understand what equitable title is. Do you guys know what equity is?
Yes, the amount that, basically the balance between what you owe and what the asset is actually worth.
Good. That's exactly what it is. Equity is how much money you have based on the value, market value of the property minus the balance on your loan. That's your equity. Now, assuming that you bought a property for $450,000 and you put $50,000 down. And the appraised value is $489,000. What is your equity? What is your equity?
If you have a $450,000.
It's 489 minus 50,000 that you put down.
No.
No.
89,000?
89,000, yes. Because the market value is what determines the value of my property, not how much I pay for it. Okay, what determines the value of my property is the appraisal, which is the market value. So if the market value is 489, I bought for 450, and I put $50,000 down, 89,000 is my equity. Okay, which is mine. If I sell the property for 489, I'm gonna get $89,000.
I got you.
Everybody understand that? Good. Now, how do I build equity? How can the $89,000 go up? How can I build equity?
Paying the mortgage.
Payments.
Payments, yeah, pay the mortgage. Every time that I make a payment, my balance will go down and then my equity goes up. When I make extra payments on my mortgage, also it's a way to build equity. And what else?
Market value goes up.
Market value goes up. Very good. If the market value goes up to $500,000, then I get an extra $11,000 on my equity. We good?
Yeah.
Now, let's assume that this is an example of a property that I'm buying and the seller is financing. Okay? I gave the seller $50,000 and the seller is financing the $400,000. Do I get a deed?
No, not before. Equitable title. Equitable title.
And another thing that's called contract for deed. Okay, equitable title means that all the title that is going to be built on top of my property is mine. Even though the property still belongs to the seller, I own the equity. And every time that the equity goes up, it's also mine. You understand what equitable title means?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I do.
No, acquiring legal title. So there's different ways for us to separate ourselves from the title. Okay? There's different ways that we separate ourselves from the title. It could be by choice and could be not by choice, which we called voluntary alienation. What is alienation? It's when you separate yourself from the title. Okay? Could be a voluntary alienation or an involuntary alienation. And that's what we're going to see now. The voluntary alienation is like when you sell the property. Deed. The deed itself is a voluntary alienation because it's by my choice. I decided to sell the property and I decide to transfer the title, then it's a voluntary alienation. Let's say John Smith, he made a will that when he dies, his son is going to get the property. And then he died and the son got the property. Is this a voluntary alienation or involuntary alienation?
Voluntary.
Why?
Because he made by his choice.
Yes, because
his
he
wishes.
put it on a will that the property is going to go to his son. We understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Those are basically the two examples for voluntary alienation. Now let's look into involuntary alienation. Okay? Let's say that the person dies without a will. So meaning he didn't make a will. And he does have heirs. Is it a voluntary alienation or involuntary alienation?
Involuntary.
Involuntary because he didn't make a decision who's going to keep the properties. And then comes what it's called descent and distribution. Okay, what is descent and distribution? The government will take the properties and will distribute amongst the descendants, the heirs, herdeiros. We good?
Good.
What is it called again?
Involuntary alienation.
But what is it called when the guy dies without a will but with heirs?
Descent.
Descent and distribution.
Distribution.
Okay, descent and distribution. And this is an example of involuntary alienation. Now, the guy died without a will and without heirs. Is this a voluntary alienation?
No, involuntary.
Involuntary, and it's called as cheat.
As cheat.
As cheat. Okay, what is the process of as cheat? The government will take the property. That's all. Because the property cannot be abandoned. The guy died.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't have any will to say, well, this organization, this institution, this church will have my property after I die. He didn't have anything like that. So the property cannot be abandoned there. So the government takes it. And what is it called?
Cheat.
As cheat.
As cheat to the state.
As cheat. Okay? Now, the government needs your property for public use, and you need to understand that has to be for public use. Cannot be for mall, stripping mall, okay? Has to be for public use. Let's say that the government needs your property because they are building a new airport, okay? And your house is right on the way. So he must purchase your property, okay? And this is an example of
adverse possession.
Involuntary alienation. Okay, involuntary alienation, and it's for public use, and it's called adverse possession. Okay? No, it's not adverse possession. It's eminent domain.
No, here is adverse possession.
Me, and I end up repeating what you said. It's called eminent domain.
Eminent domain.
Sometimes the government is not going to give you the fair value. They might give you, sometimes they're going to give you the fair value. Can you say, no, I don't want to sell?
No.
No, you have to sell. And the process is called condemnation. Okay? The process of the government getting the price, it's called condemnation. Is this a voluntary or involuntary?
Involuntary.
Involuntary. Now, let's give another example. It's called adverse possession. Let's say Alexandra received a letter from an attorney in Ohio that says that her uncle dies in Ohio and left her a piece of land, right? A big piece of land. But Alexandra lives in Orlando. Her life is in Orlando. She has nothing to do in Ohio. She got the property, but she never went there. Then someone takes possession of the property. openly. Hostile. Why is he called hostile? Because nobody invited him in. He invited himself in.
Yeah, so.
Okay? So,
So-
and he stay openly. Everybody sees that he's there. And he pays all the property taxes. After 70 years of this thing happening, paying taxes, occupying the property, openly, hostile, and he claims the deed, he'll get the deed, and Alexander will lose the property. That's why it's called when the owner is sleep on his rights.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened to Alexander. She slept on her rights, and then someone took the property. But in order for adverse possession to occur, it must be hostile possession, must be open, everybody sees it, and he needs to pay the taxes, and this needs to happen for 7 years. And then he needs to go to county and claim the title. Okay? And
Is it usual here? Is it normal, common?
Well, it could be. I've never seen anything like that because I live in Miami. Nobody abandoned a property in Miami, right?
Yeah.
But maybe in other states, you know, like a farming area, it might happen.
You cook it 3 times. Though.
But again, adverse possession is an example of a voluntary or involuntary alienation. That was a question. Did you guys hear the question?
If we made a question?
No, did you guys hear my question?
Can you tell again? No.
Sorry.
Adverse possession is an example of involuntary alienation or voluntary alienation.
Involuntary alienation. Involuntary.
You lost the property because you slept on your rights.
But isn't that voluntary?
Involuntary.
No. Involuntary.
But you leave it behind. You don't give a damn about it.
Yes, but you lost the property without giving it away. You just slept on your rights.
Okay.
Right? Now, notice of legal title. There's 2 types of notice of legal title. One is called actual, and the other one is called constructive. Actual is when it's noticed by everybody. You know, everybody sees that you are occupying the property, so they assume you own the property. That's called actual notice. And the constructive notice is when you show a legal document, which is the deed. Okay? So actual notice is by witnesses. People sees you occupying the property. And constructive notice is when you have the document in your name that was recorded in your name. Now, protection of a title. That's something that we all must do if we own a property. We must protect the title. Okay? Because if you don't protect the title becomes unmerchantable or untransferable. Meaning, how can you sell the property if you can't transfer the title? So that's the reason why when you buy a property, you have to hire the title company that will do a title search. Okay? The reason to do a title search is exactly to find the encumbrances or clouds on the title. And if there is any encumbrances or any clouds on the title, it needs to be fixed by the seller. That's why we need to put the words on the contract, on the purchase and sales contract. And that's what I tell all my agents. Do not forget to put these on additional terms. If there is any violation or open permits, the seller at seller's cost must close the permits and fix the violations. Because if you don't have their words on the contract, what happens if the title company find out that there's violations?
The buyer will need to pay.
No, there will be a fight because the buyer also did not agree to pay. Now we're gonna have a fight to decide who is going to pay to fix it, right? That's why when we represent the buyer and we want to protect the buyer, we put those words on the contract, okay? So the title company will do a search. It's called title search. And another thing is that, can we give an opinion of title?
Yeah, just lawyers.
Yes, correct. We cannot give an opinion on a title, because that will be acting as an attorney without being an attorney. And that's a third-degree felony. You don't want to do that. So if anyone asks me, what do you think about this title? Then I refer them to an attorney, and then you ask the question to an attorney, because this question is beyond the scope of my license.
It's legal
question.
advice.
Yeah. So we don't give out opinions on title. Only the attorney does it. We good? Now, we understand. Let's put it this way here. You guys are buying a house and you hire a title company. The title company will do a title search. Okay? And today they came with the results of the title search, and everything seems to be normal. And in 5 years from today, you purchase the property. Okay? In a month from the closing, a company who repairs the roof for the seller while the seller was still the owner of the property, he hired this company to fix the roof, but he never made the payment. The company was trying to collect the payment from the owner and was never able to collect the payment. What happened is that the company, the roof company, they put a lien on the property, but they only put a lien 1 month after you purchase. Are you going to have a problem?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That's the reason why we must purchase a title insurance, because if this thing happens, the insurance will take care of it. We good?
Yeah.
Now, what we need to understand about the title insurance is that it's not required by law. If you see any question that says, oh, title insurance is required by law, no, it's not. Title insurance is not required by law. But if you are financing the property, the bank will require you to purchase a title insurance. And if you don't purchase, because it's not required by law, then I don't want to purchase. Then the bank is not going to lend you the money. Understand?
Yeah.
You understand the purpose of a title insurance?
Yeah.
Now, do you want to buy a title insurance?
Yes.
Let's say you buy a house for $500,000. Do you want to buy an insurance?
Yes.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Because even if the title company didn't find anything until the day of the closing, that doesn't mean that something else is not going to show up after the closing. So if you don't have a title insurance, you may lose your assets. Depends on the problem that shows up. Now, the title company, the title insurance that the lenders will require you to purchase is for the amount of the loan. So if you're taking $400,000, even if the property is worth $600,000, you're gonna purchase a title insurance in the amount of $400,000. We good? Because you're protecting the lender's investment, and you're gonna purchase title insurance to protect your investment. If you pay cash, it will be the full amount, and if you finance, it will be the amount of your down payment. We good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, title insurance, it's not transferable from buyer to another buyer. Let me give you an example about this. If I buy the property, I purchase a title insurance for me. If I sell the property to Guilherme, can I transfer my title insurance to Guilherme?
No.
No, it's not transferable. Guilherme is going to have to purchase his own title insurance. We good?
Uh-huh.
Now, let's talk about the title insurance that you purchased for the lender, for the bank. Are you guys aware that you buy a property and it's financed by Bank of America? Okay? And 6 months later, you receive a letter from Chase instructing you to start, now you should send the checks to Chase. You guys aware that this thing can happen? Yes or no?
I think so. They can sell the contracts to the other bank, right?
The bank sells the loan. Yes, the bank sells the loan all the time. Bank of America financed your house, and then 6 months later, they sold the loan to Chase. Now you need to send your payments to Chase, right? Now, when they sell the loan to Chase, now is the title insurance transferable from Bank of America to Chase?
Yes.
Yes, in that case, the title insurance is transferable, okay? So the lender title insurance is transferable and the owner's title insurance is not transferable. We good?
Now I remember that with this conversation, I remember that I finished to pay my mortgage, but I have no insurance. I need to see this.
Well, insurance for the house, you mean? That's something else. That's insurance for your title.
No, the house.
Yeah, that's a different type of insurance.
I know.
Insurance for the title.
I know.
Okay. Now we know about those two things. Now, what is a deed? It's a written instrument that transfers titles, conveys the title. We need two parties on the deed, the grantor and the grantee. Who is the grantor?
Who's gonna give the rights?
The seller, right?
Seller, yeah.
Yeah.
And the grantee?
The buyer.
The buyer.
The guy
Now,
gonna receive, right?
think about the question that I'm going to give you guys. Who must sign the deed? The grantor, the grantee, or both?
Both.
Grantor and grantee.
All right. Any other opinion?
At least the grantor.
Yes. Now,
The grantor
only
has to sign.
grantor must sign. The grantee doesn't need to sign because he's receiving. If he's receiving, he doesn't need to sign. Only the grantor must sign.
Okay.
And to be valid, we also need a signature of two witnesses. To be valid, we need also a signature of two witnesses. All right, the grantor is the owner who's giving the title. The grantee is the new owner who is receiving the title. What if I have a newborn baby and I want to give a house to my newborn? Can he sign?
No.
No.
No, right? So that's why the grantee's signature are not required. Now, what are the parts of a deed? What are the things that are included on the deed? The premises that contains the name of the grantee and the grantor. Of course, we have to have in the deed the name of the grantor, who is giving the deed, and the name of the grantee who is receiving the deed. Now, we also need to have a consideration. Now, we're going to see that word consideration a lot. I'm going to give you the first explanation, and then from now on, every time that we see consideration, I'm just going to ask a question, not going to explain anymore unless someone asks. Okay, so understand this. What is a consideration? A consideration is what is being given in return of the deed or in return of the property. Okay? Consideration is what you're giving in return of the property or in return of the deed. Now, a consideration could be a valuable consideration or a good consideration. A valuable consideration is money or anything that can be converted into money. That's a valuable consideration. And a good consideration is love and affection. Give me a kiss, I'll give you my house. Okay? Now, can I give a house to my daughter?
Yes.
I'm giving. Is she paying me for that house?
No.
So what is the consideration on that deed?
Love.
Good consideration, which is love and affection. Okay? All right, very good. Words of conveyance, which is the granting clause. They are granting the deed to the buyer. It's a granting clause. The interest that is being conveyed, abandon clause. First time we see this word, right? Have you heard this word before? Abandon?
No.
No. Guys, who can tell me what life state is?
Life state.
Yeah, life state.
When you live in the house until you die.
Yeah, not leave. When you give a property to someone, that they will enjoy it until they are
die.
alive or until they die.
Yeah.
Right? That is a life state. And I can say that when the person dies, it's going to go to me. What is it called?
Reversion.
The state in reversion.
Reversion is state in reversion.
Yeah, and I can also say that this property is going to go to my son.
Remainder
state.
Remainder state.
Remainder state, yes. Now, where do you think this information is going to be?
In abandon clause.
In the deed. Where in the deed? In the abandon clause.
Abandon clause.
Right? So we are hearing a word for the first time, but you already know the definition. Now, you heard about the life state and you understood. And you heard about that life state could return it to the grantor or could go for someone that the grantor appointed. But this information must be in writing in some place. And that place has to be the deed. When I transfer to my mom in life state, I must put it in writing that it's a life state and what's going to happen after my mom dies. And all those information will be on the abandon clause. Okay? Now, why did they give you that information? Could that be on your test? Yeah, probably not. I gave you that information just to link information, to make an abandon clause clear. So what the hell is abandon clause? Yeah, this is the abandon clause. Now, exceptions and reservations, there are other parts to be on the deed. Deed restrictions, we're going to talk about the restrictions as well. Opportunist, legal description. What is a legal description?
The contract.
Huh?
Did clearly identify the property being conveyed?
No.
A street address.
A legal description is the legal location of the property. The legal location of the property is not the address. The address is just the address. But every property has a legal description, and one legal description is different from the other and will never be the same. Have you noticed that the address could be the same? 123 Van Buren Street? Can be a bunch of them? Yeah, right? Yeah. That's what it is. So legal description is the legal location of the property. And if you look into chapter 10, that's what we're going to be talking about in chapter 10. Legal description.
It's a number?
Huh?
No, it's descriptions of blocks.
No, it's not a number.
No.
You're gonna know what is the content of a legal description. Voluntary delivery and acceptance. Okay? Legal titles passed to the grantee at this point. And the signature of competent grantor and 2 witnesses. Remember, to be a valid, you must have the grantor signature and also 2 witnesses. Now, what is the requirement for this deed to be valid? Number 1, it must be in writing, right? Otherwise, we don't have a deed. We need to have the name of the grantor and the name of the grantee. The grantor must be of legal capacity. Okay? Meaning, He can be a minor or have a mental problems. Consideration must be described. What is the name of this again?
Consideration
What is
valuable.
that? What is this? What is consideration?
Consideration is what you are going to give in to someone for to receive the estate,
To
the
receive
real
the
estate,
deed. Yes.
the deed.
Yeah, and the consideration could be what?
Consideration valuable and not
Good consideration.
Good
good
consideration.
consideration.
Valuable consideration. The granting clause, the abandon clause, also need to have the legal description. Every document related to real estate must contain a legal description because that's the legal location. Signed by a competent grantor and 2 witnesses, and voluntary delivery and acceptance. Now, we have a different
addendum clause.
Huh?
Sorry, I'm a little confused in the addendum clause.
The abandon clause is the clause where we have the life state in it, the estate in reversion, if the property will go back to the grantor after the person dies, the remainder state, if it's not the grantor who's going to get it, who's going to get it? Okay, so basically, it's just to know that there is one clause called the abandon clause. I'm just telling you what is inside of it.
It's just like instruction, we could say, just for my understanding.
For a life state, yes. Instructions that this deed is being conveyed in a life state. And also instructions to what to do after the person dies. Because we know that life state is only until the person dies. When the person dies, something needs to happen. And what is going to happen? That information is inside the abandon clause.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay? Now, when we receive a deed, there is a different statutory on a deed, or a different type of deeds. Let's make those words easier to understand. I say different type of deeds. The general warranty deed is the best one for the buyer. Okay, if you have a question, which one is the best one for the buyer? Which one is going to be?
General warranty deed.
The general warranty deed. Why? Because on the general warranty deed, we have the ceasing clause, which is the promise that the grantor is the owner and has the right to convey. So it's a promise. Guys, this is my property. And because it's my property, I have the right to convey. Is this a good thing to have on a deed? Yes, right?
Yes.
Why is it good for the buyer? Also, it is against any encumbrances, meaning it's free of liens. There's no liens on the property. Nobody's going to knock on your door after you buy and say, look, this is my property, or you own $50,000 for the roof. A buyer wants that. Further assurance means that the grantor will deliver legal instrument. And also there is a promise to quiet enjoyment. Nobody's going to bother you. Peaceful possession. Now imagine if you buy a property from a woman and he conveys the title to you, and 2 years later, a husband shows up and say, look, get out of my property because my wife did not have the right to sell it. Isn't this a problem?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It is.
Can prove that he was the husband and she needs her signature in order to sell the property. We're going to have a problem. So quiet enjoyment and warranty forever to defend the grantee's title. So he's going to defend the buyers forever. But we need to understand one thing. How good is a promise if you don't keep it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is the best one. The general warranty deed is the best for the buyer. And that's what I want you guys to remember the most. The general warranty deed is the best one for the buyer. Now we have a special warranty deed. Special warranty deed means that the grantor did nothing to encumbrance or cloud the title during the grantor ownership. The grantor does not warranty title except against acts by the grantor or grantor representative. So do you think this one is as good as this one here? What do you think?
Will you please?
This one cannot be better than this one here, because this one here, you have all the warranties. Warranty means promises. So the seller will promise to that the title is against any encumbrances. They're gonna promise that you will you have quiet enjoyment. You promise that warranty forever. This one, the grantor doesn't warranty the title, doesn't promise anything. So this one is not better than this, right? That's why I told you that this is the best one for the buyer. If this is the best one for the buyer, the answer for this one, he has to be no. It's not better than the fresh one. Otherwise, I wouldn't say that that one was the best one, right? Now,
Right.
the next one is the bargain and sell deed. You got the granting clause, you got the rabando, and the seizing, meaning the property is mine and I have the right to convey, but no future warranty. Conveys all the title the grantor has, but it does not protect a grantee from clouds or claims on the title. So is this one better than the fresh one? No, it's not better than the fresh one. Okay? Now, what is a quitclaim deed? The most type of answer that you're gonna have about the quitclaim deed is this: what is the easiest way to clean a cloud in a title? What will be the answer? Quitclaim deed. Okay? So, what is the most common question that you might face about quitclaim deed? Is that what is the best way or fastest way to clean a cloud in a title? What is the answer?
Quitclaim deed.
Quitclaim deed. Okay, guys, I want you, all of you, to participate. Not only Alexandra.
Could you explain, give an example about quitclaim deed?
Yes. All right. You're divorcing your husband.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your husband, and you wanted to sell the property.
Mm-hmm.
And your husband says, you know what, Alexandra, you can keep the property. But you know that the divorce is going to take a while to happen, and you want to sell the property now.
Mm-hmm.
So then he will quit the deed to you. Quitclaim deed means that whoever is signing it is quitting on all interest in the property.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's why it's called the fastest way or easiest way to clear clowns on the title.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? Another example. Let's say I bought a property, and 2 years later, I open up a company, and I'm going to use that property for the company. And I wanted the company to own the property. So I'm not going to sell the property, my property, to my company.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do?
Quitclaim deed.
I'm going to quitclaim deed to the company. So I'm going to sign it off to the company, and good.
And the company will have the house.
The company will have the deed in the company's name.
Ah, the deed in the company's name, okay.
Yeah. The same way about the divorce. You're going to have the deed on your name alone.
Mm.
Okay? Your husband is not going to be on the deed anymore.
Mm.
That's what a quitclaim deed is.
So I can do a quitclaim deed in my house to my company.
You can, yes.
Because the deed is only in my name.
Yes, you can do that. You need to see the advantage of doing this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The financial advantage. Okay.
What is the advantage of doing this? Okay. But you can. And it's a simple thing. The attorney that I work with, he charged $500 to do that. He will prepare the quitclaim deed.
Please,
you sign
give me,
he will record it.
Give me the phone later.
Yeah, but he doesn't operate in Orlando.
But in Florida?
He might be away, yeah.
If he is a lawyer in Florida, he can.
I will send you his number. You want to write it down?
Please tell me, please. Please.
Okay. Everybody, if you needed an attorney, a real estate attorney, he's not an attorney for criminal or civil. It's real estate attorney.
Give me the phone, please.
So his name is John.
Mm-hmm.
1 second.
Yanu. Yoanu.
Mm-hmm.
It's spelled IOANNOU. Yoanu.
Mm-hmm.
And his number is 954
9.
54
Uh-huh.
821
Uh-huh.
4166.
4166. 954-821-4166.
Yes.
I'll call him tomorrow. Thank you.
You are.
The name is John.
John
Oyano.
Yoanu. It's IOUNNOU.
Okay.
All right. So we know what is the quitclaim deed. Now, special purpose deed. We also have a special purpose deed when a personal, it's a personal representative deed or a guardian deed. Let's say you are a guardian of and you work on behalf of a minor, okay? Committee deed and the tax deed. Tax deed is when the property is sold to pay taxes. Then it's called taxes deed. Now, we know that we own the property, but we do have restrictions. It doesn't mean you can do anything you want with the property. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
You say, but this is my property. Yeah. But remember, you have 5 rights: enjoyment, possession, control, disposition, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't do everything. Let's say you want to build 4-story on top of your house, but the zoning doesn't allow. Can you build? I don't think you guys can hear me because I keep repeating the same question 3 times and nobody answered. It must be my microphone. Hello, you guys can hear me? Hello, do you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can
There must
hear
be
you.
something wrong with my phone because I asked the
Joseph,
question, nobody
can you
said
hear?
anything.
Joseph,
I'm gonna tell you one thing. If I stop asking questions, guys, huh?
No, I can. Sorry.
You hear me?
Yeah, my phone was on mute.
All right. So if I stop asking questions, you guys are gonna regret. Okay? So I ask a question, you don't know, you say, I don't know. Say anything, but don't make me repeat the question because I feel, 2 years here.
I saw it.
Now, the zoning doesn't allow me to build 60-story. Can I build?
No, if it doesn't allow you, you can't.
No, I cannot build. This is a restriction based on the zoning, building codes, health ordinance. Now, house is my house, but if the government needs to build an airport where my house is, they're gonna take the property.
Yes.
Through eminent domain in a process called condemnation.
Yes.
The house is my house, but I'm still subject to pay taxes. Right? So those are government restrictions. It's my house, but there's some restrictions. Now, private restrictions. We got deed restrictions, easements, leases, and liens. Now we're gonna talk about all of those, okay? The deed restriction, easements, leases, and liens. Now, first one. Deed restrictions are part of a deed, affect only one particular property. Let's give an example of a deed restriction. Let's say that they tell you that you cannot build a certain type of fence. Okay, that will be like a deed restriction. Let's say a developer build a 15 townhouses, one next to the other. You know, the townhouses like Casa Germinada no Brasil. Townhouse. And they put on the deed a restriction that nobody can paint the house the way they want it. If they paint the townhouse, all the townhouse needs to be painted on the same color. This is a deed restriction. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that we could say that deed restriction is applied to the HOA.
No.
Something like that.
No. Restriction is restriction on the deed. Things that you cannot do, even though the property is yours. There is a restrictions on the deed. What type of restriction? Nobody can paint the house the color they want outside, only inside.
It's more or less like a HOA, because if I want to change the color of my house outside, the HOA doesn't let me.
Yes, but it's a lot more than that.
Okay.
All right. Now, easements. Easements it's also a restriction. Easements is a restriction. Let's say I have a house, but I need to give part of my land to the power company. They need to run cables. Cable companies, right? The water. They need to run those cables, and I need to give them access to my property so they can access the cables that's running on my property. That's called easements. Okay, easements is more for the utility companies.
Serventia, não é?
Yeah, and you don't convey ownership. You're not giving their part of the property to the utility companies. You're just allowing them to use it, but the property is still yours. Okay. Now, type of easement. That's what are the types of easement? One is called easement apportionment. Now, let's say you have a house and there is a way to access the beach through your property. It's still your property, right? But you allow people to access the beach through your property. But you got to remember one thing: easement by prescription. Do you see here? Easement by prescription. If you allow them to use that piece of your land for 20 years, then it's not yours anymore. Okay. Now, easement in gross is the utility company. That's why it's called easement in gross is when you give part of your land to the utility companies to run cables. Okay. Now, easement by necessity is when you have other land, lock it, because the only way to access the land is through your land. You understand
You didn't
that?
talk about the easement by prescription.
Huh?
You didn't talk about the easement by prescription.
I did when I was talking about the easement apportionment, and I said that there is a way that people are using to access the beach. And then I jumped to easement by prescription. If you allow them to use for 20 years, then it's not yours anymore. That's what easement by prescription means. If you use for more than 20 years, then it's yours.
É uso capião.
Yes, uso capião. Now, easement by necessity. Let's see if I can bring the screen to you. Let me stop sharing here.
Eu tô adorando essa aula.
Really? Why?
Tem muito a ver com direito.
É, né?
Totally law.
Totally law. And you love law, right?
I
you
love.
know what you're going to love too? Another subject that you're going to love?
No.
Math. Or I'm the one who's going to make all that money.
I think we are going to split.
No.
To share.
It's good for me, but not for you.
I know.
Guys, look at this. This is Williams Island. Okay? This is Williams Island. And right here, there's a private island with single families only. All the houses are on the water. Some are on the, let's call the canal, the other one on the intercoastal, both of them on the intercoastal. But anyway, the value of those properties are very high.
Mm-hmm.
But there is an island here. And it was empty until 5 years ago. There's nothing on this island here. And for many years they were fighting. The owner of this island was fighting because they want to build a building here.
Mm.
And the only way to access the island is through this private island here.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to gain access to their island through this one here. And they were fighting because they didn't want to. Why they didn't want to? Because right now it's private. There was a gate right here that before anyone crossed this gate, they need to call the owner to allow them in. Now that gate doesn't exist anymore. Now you see that children could play on the street here nicely, but now generate traffic because they have buildings here. I think
It's an easement.
it's about 80 units per building. There's 160 units here. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But they could not keep them from access the island because the only way to access is through this island here. We good?
So this now is an easement by necessity.
Yeah, easement by necessity. What is encroachment? Encroachment is when you use somebody else's property. Let's say my neighbor decided to build a garage and he built that garage 2 inches, 2 feet inside my property. That's encroachment.
Invasão.
Invasão, yeah. Okay? Or he built a fence, but when he built the fence, they put 2 feet inside my property when he built the fence. So meaning he stole 2 feet of my property and now he has 2 feet more than his property.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to do a survey and the survey will show where is the limit on my property and he will gonna have to remove his fence. We're gonna talk about lease. Okay, what is a lease? It's you giving someone the right to possess your property. That's a lease. He doesn't have the ownership, but he does have the right to occupy the property. So must be in writing and signed to be enforceable. Who says that again?
To be enforceable, need to be writing.
Who says that?
You.
Nope.
The law.
What is the name of this law? This could be a test.
I don't remember.
The real estate
of fraud.
Yeah.
Statute of fraud says that in order to be enforceable, it must be in writing. Now, type of lease. The first type of lease is called gross lease. That's what we are most common. You know, that's the most common that all of us know about it. What is a gross lease? It's when the tenant pays the rent and the landlord is responsible to pay property taxes, insurance, and to maintain the property. That's why it's called gross lease. Gross to the landlord. Okay? So the tenant pays the rent and the landlord pays for property taxes, insurance, and maintain the property. Now, net lease is the opposite. It's when the tenant pays the rent and the landlord, it's when the tenant pays the rent and he also pays property taxes, he also pays for insurance, and he also maintains the property, that including building structure and parking lot. Tenant is responsible for everything. Let me give an example. This is also called triple net. Why is it called triple net? Net, right? Triple net. No tenant pays insurance, so landlord doesn't have to pay. Tenant pays property taxes, landlord doesn't have to pay. And the tenant pays for maintenance, so landlord doesn't have to pay. Okay? Example, every single Walgreens that you find, they are on a triple net.
Oh.
CVS is on a triple net. Okay, and I'm telling you the most popular companies. They don't buy the building. They rent the building on a triple net. Okay, so if you see a Walgreens in a standalone building, okay, not in a plaza, in a standalone building, you know that the Walgreens, he pays for the property taxes, he pays for the maintenance, he pays for insurance, and he's also responsible for the building structure, roof, parking lot, everything. The landlord just need to collect the rent. Of course, the return of investment is less because the landlord needs to have more money to pay all of the other things. Okay?
Okay.
Give you like a quick example.
Okay.
I had one, I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys. I had one, I think I did. Yeah, I think I did, but it didn't get to the triple net. Remember when I told you that I had an investor from Brazil that he wants to move to the United States 5 years from now, but he wants to start investing here? So, and he's not going to be here, so he can maintain the property. So the solution that I gave to him was to buy a Walgreens. Because then he just needs to collect the money. He will transfer the money from Brazil to here, use the money to invest in a real estate property, and will start collecting rent from day one. And he doesn't have to maintain the property. If anything goes wrong with the property, the tenant is responsible. He's not going to receive any phone call to say, oh, there's a leaking on my roof, oh, the AC is not working. It's not the landlord problem. It's the tenant problem.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to jump to ground lease. Ground lease is when you rent the land and you build something on the land. And of course, that type of lease is a minimum of 50 years because the tenant is going to spend the money to build something. Let's give you guys an example. There's a city not too far from here, almost halfway from here to Orlando, called Port St. Lucie. Have you heard about Port St. Lucie?
I passed by going to Miami.
So Port St. Lucie, about 2005, I would say 15, 17 years ago, there was nothing there in Port St. Lucie. And then they decided to build houses in Port St. Lucie. And there's a lot of people from Pompano Beach that they were buying houses in Port St. Lucie because the price was very low. They could buy a mansion, 5 bedrooms with a huge pool for $150,000.
Wow.
And for $150,000, you couldn't even buy an apartment in Pompano Beach. What happened is when the market came down in 2008, so these people lost jobs. They could not go back to, keeping this long drive every day. But what I'm trying to tell you is this. When the city was starting being built, there was no Walgreens there. And Walgreens wants to build a pharmacy in Port St. Lucie, right? Because it's a good market. We're starting a city. People are going to move in. They're going to need a pharmacy. So let's build a pharmacy here. So then they found an empty lot close to the downtown. And what they did, they rent the land on a ground lease type of lease. And they build Walgreens on top of the land. Now, at the end of the lease, let's say that they put a lease of 50 years. At the end of the lease, if Walgreens does not want to renew the lease, the property keeps the building. Okay? The owner will keep the building. All right, I don't want to renew the lease. He's not going to bring the building down. He's going to have to leave the building the way it is and let the owner take care of it. Now, percentage lease. A percentage lease, it's a commercial lease. It's a type of commercial lease. And it's when you rent the property on a percentage based on your gross income. There's no math questions about that, but I'm gonna show you so you guys understand what this is. Let's say that this property, they rent a store in a plaza, and the terms of the lease is a percentage lease. Means this, you're gonna pay me $5,000 per month. With a 4% of your gross income. Okay? Now, this is all calculated over 12 months. So if I rent the property for $5,000 a month, in 12 months, I will have paid $60,000. Understand that?
Uh-huh.
We all good with this? 50 times 12 will give 5 times 12 will
Yeah.
give $60,000.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
If my gross 4% of my gross income is more than 60, then I must give the difference. Okay?
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna have to show the landlord my gross income, my financial report. And the landlord will look into my financial report and he's gonna look into my gross income. Then he's gonna get 4% of that amount. If 4% of that amount is less than 60 or up to 60, I'm good. I don't have to pay anything else. But if 4% is more than 60, then I have to pay the difference. Okay?
Uh-huh.
Now, if I get this 60 and divide it by 4%, I'm gonna get $1.5 million. Okay? So if I show my landlord my gross income, and my gross income is $1.5 million, 4% is 60,000, so I'm okay. I don't have to do anything. But if my gross income is $1.8 million, guess what I have to do?
Pay 5%.
Gross income equals to $1.8 million. Okay? So what do I have to do now?
Pay 4%.
But I already paid 60,000, which is equivalent to 1.5, right?
Uh-huh.
So how much is 1.5 minus 1.8? 300, right? So I made $300,000 more. Then I'll calculate 4%, and I'm gonna have to give him an extra $12,000 for the rent. That's what percentage rent means. Is when you rent the property based on the percentage. You have a monthly payment that you pay every month, and you also have the percentage of your gross income. We good?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
No math questions about this, but you need to understand what gross income is. That's why I show you the math, so you make it easier for you guys to understand. Now, there's only one missing, which is variable lease. And I'm gonna show you that on Monday.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys.
Have an excellent weekend.
You too. Enjoy your weekend. All right. Be
Okay,
safe.
bye-bye.
We'll see you guys on Monday.
Bye-bye.
Speaking, everyone.
You guys, take care.
Have a good weekend.
Good evening. Bye-bye.
Enjoy your weekend.